Hey guys, welcome to another New World video. In today's video I want to talk about the patch last night, specifically this part. Re-enabled loot for several Brimstone Sands mobs that previously spawned too quickly. The two main reasons I would like to talk about this today are simple. First, the issue I have with the clarity of the patch notes lately, or more correctly, the lack of it. And the second reason is to clear up a misunderstanding I am seeing from the messages I'm getting on Discord. I know this is a small issue, but it's one that's driving me crazy lately. But the lack of clarity in the patch notes is just getting out of hand. To better explain my frustration, let's first start from the beginning, for those who may not follow changes closely or came after Brimstone Sands. When Brimstone Sands released, there were a bunch of world bosses that you could farm for cool named items. It was a great and actually fun and exciting change from the old status quo of New World and being stuck running chests in an infinite loop for gear. Granted, not all of the loot these bosses dropped was overly amazing, but MMO players for the most part love collecting. You never know how perks will change, how metas will shift, the sky's the limit on possibilities. Anyways, to get to my point, it is far more fun killing a boss than running chests, or at least having the option to change it up. Then of course the issue arose when the bosses due to being farmed so hard started spawning erratically, too fast. And AGS decided, nope, those people look like they're enjoying the game, back to grinding, and took the loot away from a large number of the bosses and placed it in Brimstone chests to be gathered randomly again. Now, of course I am kidding. It did make sense, I suppose. Some of the bosses were insta-spawning, so they did need to remove the drops at least until they were fixed. So people who missed out on getting things like the Legate's Ring were now destined to run chest runs in the hopes of pulling it. So just for argument's sake, let's look at the patch notes from that day. The following named AI have had their drops temporarily removed and instead relocated into sarcophagi throughout Brimstone Sands. And then they gave a list of the bosses. So fast forward about a month and a half and this brings us to today. And last night's patch 1.8.1. In last night's patch, we got this line. Re-enabled loot for several Brimstone Sands mobs that previously spawned too quickly. This is an incredibly vague and misleading line in patch notes, and I will explain why. At least it is for me. So which bosses are you re-enabling the loot for? All of them that were disabled before, and that's what you mean by several of the previous disabled ones? Or several of the Brimstone bosses you disabled before? You see, no list was given, so it's confusing and annoying. So then on top of that, the glaring problem. This doesn't with clarity explain if they are re-enabling them to drop loot, but are in fact not giving them their original loot named items back. Which sounds nuts. Why would you disable the loot of a named boss because it is too easy to farm? Then take over a month to fix the spawn, then re-enable the loot when fixed only to still exclude any named items from the loot pool, even the ones that they used to drop. So I, like most, assumed this line meant that all or at least some of the bosses who had their loot removed were having it returned, and it would be back to farming them for the items we may have missed out on. Well, I log in this morning and here's what the patch notes actually meant, although they did not clearly state it. All of the previously nerfed bosses have had their loot bags returned to them, except the sneak of course. And they can now drop basically anything that a standard mob in Brimstone can. However, they did not give them back a single name drop they previously had. Those still remain in chests and sarcophagi. So basically, they drop loot again, but not their original loot. Whoever would have thought that that's how this would work when they saw this patch note? Please AGS, just give them back the named items they used to drop, if this was a mistake, and I really hope it was. It wasn't like any of these items were game breaking or anything. It was just something for people to do, especially fresh 60s. We are so tired of chest runs being the only real profitable thing to do on our characters to progress, in both gear and crafting. The sad reality is, chest runs are even more important for your character than running M10s at this point. And the only reason people even run M10s anymore is the chests at the end. The whole game is about chests at this point. If you want us to stay logged in longer and play longer, fine. Write some quests for the loot. Make them hard and that's fine. But please ease up on only chests. Anyway guys, I got off track there. The point I am making here for AGS is simple. Can you please be more clear and specific with patch notes? Let us know what is actually changing and why. And for all of you guys messaging me, they have not returned the previously dropped loot to a single one of the world bosses mentioned. The Legate's Ring and all of the other items, those are all still in chests only. Sorry guys, that ran a little longer than I had planned. I was meaning to just answer a simple question when I started rolling. But this is just getting sort of infuriating right now. I was so hoping that having like 16 new world bosses to farm again would give people something positive to do and enjoy and lighten up the growing tension I am sure everyone is feeling lately in the game. I know I am. Anyway guys, just wanted to answer that question for everyone. I am currently working on a few other videos I've had requested quite often. My solo farming build, harvesting gear info, stuff like that. So look out for those if you're interested. And as always guys, thanks for watching and I will see you in the next one.